Hello and welcome to Wisdom Trek. This is Guthrie Chamberlain and I am your guide to wisdom. Thank you for joining us on our 7-day-a-week, 7 Minutes of Wisdom podcast. This is day 41 of our trek, and today we are going to trek down the path that will allow us to become a leader or mentor to others. We're recording our podcast in our studios at Home 2 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Today is a very hot day in North Carolina with temperatures over 100 degrees. Although we usually work entirely from home, we ventured out today into the heat to visit a friend in need and to pick up a new pair of eyeglasses for me. The optometrist said that it gives me the Clark Kent look from Superman. Well, I guess that's okay with me, since as I remember the old Superman episodes always referred to him as the mild-mannered Clark Kent, and that would fit my personality pretty well. Of all the superheroes from my childhood, Superman is still my favorite. Well, since I don't have any real superpowers myself, let's break camp today and head onto the trails of life. We want to consider the 3 character traits required which will allow us to create a living legacy. Now, in order to create that legacy, we must be able to lead and mentor others. And in order to lead and mentor others, we need to traverse certain trails, which you might say we need to put into practice certain habits that will allow us to attain the status of leader and mentor. And I'll be so brash to say that we cannot possibly lead or mentor others unless we hike these 3 trails on a regular basis. The model for our wisdom nuggets today, which shows us the 3 trails that we must travel, is learned from the Hebrew priest Ezra, who was taken into exile in Babylon by King Artaxerxes. Now Ezra was allowed to return to Jerusalem to assess the city's condition, which had been destroyed when Babylon attacked the city. And in chapter 7, verses 8 through 10 reads, Ezra arrived in Jerusalem in August of that year. He had arranged to leave Babylon on April 8th, the first day of the new year, and he arrived in Jerusalem on August 4th, for the gracious hand of God was on him. This was because Ezra had determined to study and obey the law of the Lord and to teach those decrees and regulations to the people of Israel. Now verse 10 gives us a pattern to follow in order to become a leader and mentor. Number 1 is to learn it. Our first trail that we must explore is the Learn It Trail. Before we can ever hope to lead or mentor others, we must first learn the practical lessons of life and to grow in wisdom yourself. You need to foster the spirit of continual learning within yourself. With the resources that are available using today's technology, there is no excuse for remaining unlearned or ignorant in any area of life. In fact, as rapidly as the world is changing, if you are not continually learning, then you will quickly lose your skills and therefore your value in many areas of life. The most important skill to acquire is learning how to learn. Be a lifelong student. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether they're 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays strong. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. In addition to that, the more you learn, the more you will earn, and the more self-confidence that you will have. But learning does take self-discipline. In fact, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 1 says, "To learn, you must love self-discipline. It is stupid to hate correction." And Proverbs 18:15 says, "Intelligent people are always ready to learn. Their ears are open for knowledge." And as we look back to Ezra chapter 7, verse 10, we see that Ezra had determined to study. Number 2, live it. The second trail we must explore today is the Live It Trail. You need to apply what you have learned to your life and to live it each day. It needs to become part of the very fabric of your life. What actually generates tangible results in your life is to regularly and consistently apply what you have learned. The whole point of absorbing new information is so that you can apply it in practical everyday life. Leadership or mentorship is practiced not so much in words as it is in attitude and actions. You have to live what you've learned each day. Yes, you need to learn from others that are wise, but you also need to display wisdom. Practicing what you have learned is not a one-time occurrence, but it becomes habits in your life. It becomes who you are. This is the result of living a life of integrity. Learning the golden rule is of no value until you practice it. Now, the Apostle Paul in his letter to the church in Philippi stated it in this manner in chapter 4, verse 9. "Keep putting into practice all that you have learned and received from me, everything you have heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you." And we see Ezra put into practice what he studied, because it says, "and obeyed the law of the Lord." And number 3, loan it. The third trail to explore is the Loan It Trail. Once you have taken time to learn how to be a good leader or mentor, and have shown with your life that you practice what you have learned, it would be a crime to humanity and your world if you do not loan that wisdom to others by leading and mentoring them. It is your obligation and responsibility to help others. I call this loaning to others because you will always retain what you have learned and practice, even when you share it with others. It is the multiplier effect. It is the abundance mentality. The more that you learn and share with others, the more it multiplies. Whatever your field of endeavor, mentoring is an important part of what you do. In fact, I would say it is a requirement. A large part of mentoring requires that you awaken in others their sleeping talents and abilities. It is difficult to actually teach others. It is more about giving them the ability to think and learn on their own. If you teach people how to think, you will prepare them to deal with life with greater capability than teaching them what to think. As mentioned in previous episodes from Proverbs chapter 1 verses 2 through 4, as a leader and mentor, your primary objective should be to teach people wisdom and discipline, to help them to understand the insights of the wise, to teach people to live disciplined and successful lives, to help them to do what is right, just, and fair. This will give insight to the simple, knowledge and discernment to the young. Now this is true mentoring. And as a mentor, real satisfaction comes when you inspire others to be the best that they can be. And Ezra did the same, to teach those decrees and regulations to the people of Israel. So if you want to become an effective leader and mentor, practice the steps that Ezra followed. Learn it, live it, and then loan it. As your guide, friend, mentor, and fellow sojourner, let me know how I can help you so that you can become a better leader and mentor to your tribe. Well, that'll finish our podcast for today. If you've missed any of our previous podcasts, please check out Wisdom Trek on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or at wisdom-trek.com. Tomorrow we will ponder the topic of the science of thinking big. So please join us on our camp tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. And if you enjoy these daily doses of wisdom, these little nuggets we provide each day, I encourage you to help us out in the following 4 ways. Number 1, please leave us feedback about the podcast at wisdom-trek.com. Number 2, if you've not done so already, please subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher so that the podcast will be downloaded to you automatically each day. Number 3, if you've previously left us a rating on iTunes or Stitcher, I do appreciate that, but if you've not done so, please go to iTunes or Stitcher and give us a rating so we can gain exposure on those platforms. And then number 4, spread the word to everyone you know to join us on our Wisdom Trek. I thank you for the opportunity and privilege of being with you each day and to serve you in this way. The journal for this podcast can be found at wisdom-trek.com, where we also have pictures, tweetable quotes, wisdom nuggets, and free resources. Since we take this trek together, let us always live abundantly or fully, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. This is Guthrie Chamberlain reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy the journey, and to create a great day. See you tomorrow.